Hi, I'm Susan McConnell, your LinkedIn for the Reserve Champion. And thanks for joining us here today. I host this conversation every Tuesday at 12, although sometimes the time gets screwed up, and we're going to talk about that, Jennifer, in our little fun discussion on automation. But I talk with different business owners, different topics to light up my community so that you guys can learn things about all areas, not just what I do, LinkedIn, and so that we all can learn together because that's how we all get better. And I love that. So we're all going to be fabulous here today. Today, my guest is Jennifer Denney. Jennifer has been in digital marketing for quite some time, well over 15 years. She is definitely an expert, and I have asked her many questions in the past. And it's a passion of hers. She's data driven, which is going to be perfect for our conversation today. And she loves to analyze data from many data points using various tools, which we will talk about as well. A little known fact, though, is she did go to art school, so she has a great combination of art and data, which is kind of unusual and I think very cool. I love that part. And so welcome, Jennifer. Glad to have you here today.
Oh, thank you so much for having. Yeah, I'm the weirdo with the left and the right brain functioning. That doesn't happen too often. You're either right brain or left brain.
I know. Yeah, and so feel free if anybody has any questions about automation. We are going to be going over it on a high level, but if you have specifics, feel free. So on that high level, what is automation, like in a definition?
Yeah. Keeping it real simple, automation is basically taking simple tasks and automating them with technology. Like that's like the simplest. And you see it all across the board in manufacturing, in retail, and all kinds of places. Obviously, I see it in marketing. And so we're taking those tasks that maybe somebody was on a assembly line, and a machine now can actually do that task, and it automates it and makes it more efficient and more perfected. So that's automation in the simplest terms,
Yeah,
and we're seeing a huge boom of it for sure.
no, we definitely are. But then you take it down to even, business processes and automation. That's kind of, I would say, maybe even in the last 4 or 5 years has become very important. We're trying to automate tasks. And actually, I have an IT client when you talk about automation, and that's, what he said to me was anything that you have to do repetitive, you can automate.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think there's a lot of benefits to it with us being more efficient, but I definitely think people start to get, a little like, oh my gosh, this is taking my job.
True. I
And
believe that as well. But I do think that it does make things more efficient and faster, and maybe the jobs change a little. Maybe that's
the second part is exactly the jobs are changing. So, people are going to school right now and they're going to end up in jobs that don't even exist yet. Like these jobs are being created, and so they're brand new. And I always say, if you're worried about your job being automated, then you need to move. You need to stay in the thinking lane. Like the robots can't think yet. They don't have
yeah.
feelings, they can't come up with strategy. Like if you're in any kind of thing that can be, a repetitive task over and over, a machine is going to take your job.
Right. And
So
get over it and move on. No, no, but it is true though. But think about it is if you're doing something repetitive, and I know that when I do things repetitive, and I make mistakes.
yeah, yeah. But machines make mistakes too when we
Right.
have
They do.
machines take over what should be an emotional top type play. And we talked about this, prior to coming on here. And LinkedIn automatic responses, like that's an emotional relationship building. And so this automation of that communication, in my opinion, is not a good play.
And I do agree with that, that I, the amount of people that send the, hit the emoji buttons or the happy birthdays or the happy anniversaries, it's incredible when I have an anniversary, but I do not teach that and I don't do it. Because it's not, that inbox is your relationship piece. Like that's
Yeah.
where you're supposed to use your thoughts and showing what we call emotional intelligence. We talked about that before we got on as well. And, just to hit a thumbs up, I mean, I've corrected so many people on that, and you know what? Some of them still do it. So, I mean, I think people just think that it's fast and they're in a hurry, but that's not where you should be fast and in a hurry.
Yeah, yeah. And you start to automate things and you're not thinking about that situation of that automation is when you're going to get yourself in trouble. You see this sometimes with automation of emails, or at least I do, and
Mm.
you're not really sure where somebody actually is maybe at in like the sales cycle, and you just automated something that really deserved a personal touch.
Oh, yes, that is true because I definitely delved into email marketing quite a bit in the last quarter because it was not something that we did. And boy, talk about automating a process. That's incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
when you get into business process automation on the marketing side, it's incredible what you can do and it's incredible what you can screw up.
Yeah, you can screw up a brand
Been
pretty
there,
quickly.
done that. Yes,
Yeah.
it's true. Like I was telling you, I was just on it's Zoho, it's a CRM for business, and there's two versions of it. There's the big version, and then they have like a small business one, which I love. It's the one I use. And the other one, it's like you need a developer to like I was like trying to figure out even how to like upload a contact and add a tag. Oh, you can't do that. You have to do rules. I'm like, oh, rules. And so it's like I think like taking on something that's bigger than what you need can be an issue too. I mean, in automation, what do you think there? I mean, does everybody need things that have so many complicated pieces?
I think technology is always complicated when you first use it.
Hmm.
And I think the challenge there is there's so many different types of technologies and softwares. And until you actually use it, you're not really going to understand whether or not it's a good use for you or not. So I love free trials where I can get in there and kind of see, like, is this going to be good or not good? Because a lot of times, you're trying to get that software that has it all, but doesn't cost like a Porsche. It costs like a Ford. Like,
Right, I
that's
agree.
what you're trying to get.
Yeah, totally true. You know what? I think let's do some of the marketing automation because I have like quite a few that let's talk about scheduling posts because I used to try to do that, but sometimes that's not even a good automation. So tell me what maybe the theory is behind it and what you should actually use it for, maybe?
So I do like scheduling out posts. I like to create maybe like a content calendar. Like on Mondays, we're typically doing this, and Thursdays, we're typically doing that. But let's sprinkle it with real time scenarios as well that adds a little personality. Because if you're just like sprinkling in blog posts and information, it's not going to have that personality as much as, just like, oh, this happened today. And those are usually the ones you get the big engagement
I
on.
agree.
So, um, they do say to use the actual tool. So, like Creator Studio for Facebook, use their platform in order to set up the automation. But we do use other tools like SEMrush to kind of automate like LinkedIn posts. And I wouldn't call it automating because there's like this thinking like it's going to come out. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've used other automation tools such as automating actually going live. I do a elevated marketing chat every month, and there's a lot of resources that goes into that. And I actually put together a video prior to going live, and then the video is live, but I'm actually there. I am live. I'm just not actually talking in live at the same time because I'm not
Right.
fancy enough to have like this producer to like help me
I haven't
behind the
I
scenes.
haven't tried that one yet. Yeah, no, I agree scheduling, but when I find that if I'm scheduling a post on LinkedIn, like you can't, like if you're tagging someone, the tags don't always go in correctly. Like how you do at, like Jennifer
Yeah.
Denney. Like when I
Mm-hmm.
do
Yeah.
my stream
True.
for this, I have to actually go into the post and add it.
Yeah.
So for
And
some things
then
it's just not doable. For some things it is. And I think you kind of sprinkle a mix and automation helps you do that, I guess. Is that
yes,
fair?
don't
Yeah.
automate everything. Like there's email automation, and really this is like onboarding somebody to a product or onboarding them to a series, like, automatically setting up that series of, here's the automation steps. So you're not repeating that every time and it's the same process. Like that's good.
It's true.
You might have to adjust it though a little bit. So I think that's good.
Yeah. It's funny because when I have my process for going live, it's an automated process, but it's a handwritten one. I have to do this, 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 and
Yeah.
this. But just talk about even like the glitches with it. When I scheduled this event, when I schedule it, I have to go into LinkedIn and the time's always wrong and I haven't figured out why. So I have to go in
Yeah.
and schedule the time and I scheduled it correctly. And then you text or email me this morning and the time had changed. And so I'm just like, I've got to run around and check all my time zones everywhere. But I'm pretty sure they're right. So
You
technology
can't
is
rely on it.
yeah.
Yeah. The other place I think about it is like ad platforms. And, they have built up algorithms and things that they're looking for. Let's see here. What we got?
Where's Joe? You want to see? He
Um,
loves EI and I do too.
Yes, yes, it is definitely emotional intelligence. I've said that for a long time. Fun fact is, I actually have a degree in neuropsychology. So,
All right. What is it? Is there anything you don't do, Jennifer?
oh, stop. I don't cook. I am not a cooker. There's plenty of things I'm not good at, but if we're talking about marketing psychology, like that's right up my alley.
And
But
then your
free
friend
trial.
Lorraine, she says she loves free trials.
Yeah, you try to figure out different softwares to see like what's going to connect and what's going to talk to a different software. And because,
Yes.
I'm also not a fan of having one software that does it all because A, it's usually expensive, and B, all your eggs are in the same basket. So if that one goes down, then you're in trouble.
And that's when you
Um,
use kind of those things like Zaps that connect things and
Zapier, yep,
yeah.
yep. But you got
Yep.
to be pretty techy there to kind of connect those.
Yes. I've tried and failed. Yeah.
But a lot of these ad platforms are automating, what optimizes, and I used to be kind of like, no, I don't want to do that. But the reality is we're actually getting better results, and so I have to let go of that and make sure I set it up with the right type of information. But it's getting smarter and smarter for sure.
Oh, definitely. I
The
agree.
platforms.
Yes, it is. What are some of your favorite automation tools that you use for marketing for some of the folks listening?
We've talked a lot about them. Just schedulers for post, email platforms for automating, different emails to go out. Um, you know, I don't even know if it's automated, but using tools to go live and be in multiple places. So rather than manually, trying to be on 5 different platforms, I'm using a tool that will automate me going live to all of them.
Correct.
um, Ad platforms. There's a lot of built-in automations that are in there, or you can set up rules too that if this then that. That's actually a tool in itself. If this then that.
Yes.
So that can be fun. But I think that covers a lot of the automation tools. I feel like I'm forgetting one, but
So
yeah.
just because obviously LinkedIn is my world and I obviously teach it from, as Joe said, from emotional intelligence and not automated intelligence. So what is like, I mean, there's so many people using automation on LinkedIn. And like you said, it is getting smarter. They'll like pick pieces out of your profile and mention things, but you know what? It still doesn't pull out some of the right
People
stuff. What are your thoughts on that?
people buy from people
I agree.
in a sentence. So if I can tell when you send me a message that there was zero thought to it and that, it was automated, I'm out. Like, I understand you're trying to be efficient and I understand sales is a number game. Like, I came from sales, but it's also a people game.
Hmm. Absolutely. It
And
isn't.
so don't automate that.
No. And it's interesting, like I said, when I get people that message me and I know it's automation, I ask them if they're using it because people that use automation are actually good people for me to talk to as an audience because I always ask them how it's working. Is it working? I
Yeah.
mean, it's that whole I have to talk to many to get one, or I only have to talk to a few to get one. And what do you prefer?
Yeah. I mean, I always felt like I could do well in sales because I care. And when you're just trying to hit a number, like I get it. Like you're probably going to fail, in my opinion, because they can smell that you don't care. And business owners are busy. They don't have time, to deal with that. Like you've got to stand out. And automation is not going to make you stand out.
No.
Um, but I think of automation in other places too, like, the automation of waitresses. We're losing a lot of people in that industry. And, there's definitely, attachment that you have with your waiter or waitress, but that could save a lot of the workforce that no longer wants to do those tasks.
Yeah, it's
And
true. I mean, it's part of the experience of being in a restaurant is having, a good waiter and sometimes not such a good one, but kind of,
yeah,
it's part of the experience. And I agree. I mean, there's definitely places where automation is a
I
little frustrating.
just,
Going to a garage, like when you go to like a parking garage and there's no guy there, and like you can't get in,
mhm.
and then you're like trying to figure out how do I go and find the guy and press the button. They don't always answer,
So
and like there you're stuck.
there's a good example of, so if you're going to automate, you need to make sure that there are clear instructions or resources for people to be able to go to in order to get their questions answered. There's not a problem with not having somebody, but if you've heard a question before, it should be on your website. There should be an FAQ or wherever we're at in order to understand, oh, okay, that's how. So you got to set it up right.
Yeah, right. And that's a lot of people don't. And I think that a lot of people get into trouble when they sometimes try to set it up themselves when they don't completely understand it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's when it's best to find someone. Actually, I met someone who does that for businesses. He sets up their sales and enablement automation for them. And
Awesome.
I haven't
Awesome.
met too many people that do that. I thought that was very interesting because he doesn't do the sales training. He doesn't do any of the coaching. He's there simply to go in and teach them how to go from beginning to end of a sale through whatever automation pieces they use. It's kind of cool.
Well, that's process. So that's good. So he's
Yeah.
he's thought through that. And that's a good scenario. Um, but I mean, in general, I don't think you're gonna be able to show up in the workforce and just not use your brain. Like, you're gonna have to do the thinking task, and you're gonna have to work with other people, even if we're in this virtual environment. I've been virtual since 2006, so this isn't anything new for me. We're not gonna like not talk to each other anymore. We're just gonna be talking to each other, through screens, and we're still gonna have to think though. Those
Yes.
jobs where you didn't have to think and you could kind of mind-numbingly go through something, those jobs are going to be gone. And so I would be worried if you're in any kind of job of that nature. And technology can't go wrong, in my opinion. You're going to have a job for a while if you understand technology.
It's funny. I heard, and it's kind of one of our clients I said is an IT MSP, and he always says that, technology issues are, what is it, 80% user error? I think that's
Or developer error and not understanding how the user needs to use it. Because the
in my case,
developer,
pretty much use it. But like the thing about it is you shouldn't be afraid to try it either, though. That's the thing. Because
no,
I do try it and I make mistakes, but yet I end up learning it and learning whether it works for me or if it doesn't work for me. And
in today's workforce, I think you need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
oh yeah,
Because you're constantly in a learning, and you need to give yourself a little bit of break and just realize that, that's why I don't feel good, my job, because I don't know what I'm doing. And a lot of it is brand new. Like I said in the beginning, these are brand new jobs that are being created. It's never been there before. So you know just as much as the guy next to you. So just don't be afraid to try something. There's not going to be somebody there to tell you exactly what to do.
yeah, no, definitely. And that's just the way it is. You've got to try stuff. And I believe in the uncomfortable. I've gotten myself very uncomfortable in the last.
Failure is okay.
Failure's okay. Mistakes. Um, and so funny because like even like pulling up email lists when you're pulling email lists, you don't always get those right too. And it's kind of funny. I had a gentleman who answered it. He's like, "How did you get my name?" And I said, "Oh, I looked it up. I looked him up and I said, "Oh, you used to work for a very big company, and I think we thought you were the contact to help us." It was diversity inclusion, so it's not like a hard topic. He's like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
wish I could help." And I said, "Well, if you know anybody where you used to work, let us know." But he was very nice about it. And I just said, "Hey, I'm sorry, it was a mistake. You throw
Yeah.
yourself under a bus. We're gonna make mistakes, but ultimately, we'll end up doing things a little better with automation, I think."
Yeah, I just think you got to get that user experience in. So try to get somebody that has never used your product or service before. Let them go through any kind of automation tasks that you have and let them poke holes into, okay, this didn't make sense, that didn't make sense. Because if something is automated, then you're not going to really know. And if there's not a way for them to leave feedback for you, you're not going to know that they are
Have an issue.
frustrated. But I can at least tell you in marketing, a lot of the stuff data wise. So we always talk about a funnel. We can see where people are getting stuck. And then, we can try different things that we think might make it better. But that's constantly what we're looking for is where is somebody getting stuck? And could I try this way or that way to make it better?
Yeah, so it's all analyzing the data and doing a good
Mm-hmm.
job of it. That's very good. That's great information. So
Yeah.
I guess it's yes, automation is going to be a great thing and it have a lot of benefits, but yet you still have to use your brain and think and use what we call emotional intelligence, right?
There you
Where
go.
and when we use it is kind of very key to the whole discussion, right?
Right, right.
Awesome. Well, I think we can end it here. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Glad to have you on. And everybody out there, you have a fabulous day.
Bye.
Bye.